Traders, welcome to the Independent Quant, where I help traders turn their trading ideas into algorithmic trading strategies without having to worry about the code and theory that may be associated with them. I'm the founder of the Independent Quant, Luis, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how I'm going to build my algorithmic trade desk. So this whole project of the Independent Quant is me building an algorithmic trade desk. I started trading in 2016 when I signed up with a trading education company. I wound up going live about 3 years later in 2019. At the time, I actually left my job and started trading full time. A whole other story here as I returned back into the workforce after starting my family, and I have continued to trade on the side. I'm an independent contractor within the IT field. I'm also a retired Marine, and those factor into how eventually my trading evolved, and because it evolved with my life. When I started trading, I was single. I was, had my then girlfriend, now wife, no children. It was just a different lifestyle, and difference of 10 years makes, right? But as that evolved, in 2019, I started coding my own strategies. I have a background with coding. I started coding when I was a teenager using Pascal. For those of you that were around in the mid 90s and know what that is. So I'm no stranger to a computer, and I'm not intimidated by them. That's why I built a career around them. And I thought, okay, well, I've seen a lot of platforms come and go, Quantopian being one of them. And I thought, I'd really like to have a way to start trading algorithmically. And in 2019, while I was trading full time, I started coding my own strategies in the summer of 2019. By the end of that year, I was actually leasing strategies, so I had a lot more algos going. I was still trading by hand, and to this day in 2025, I still do trade by hand, not using algorithms. And I thought, well, how can I make trading or make algorithmic trading that much a larger part of my trading? Along the way between 2019 and I'd say 2023, somewhere in there. I don't know exactly when I bought this book, but it was Quantitative Trading by Ernest Chan. I've read Dr. Chan's other books, but this one here changed my mentality. And it's ultimately the reason why I started the Independent Quant, where I said I wanted to make algorithmic strategies a bigger part of my trading. Maybe they'll become the totality of my trading, but for right now, it's simply just trying to get an algorithmic trade desk going and have more strategies working algorithmically. So in that journey, I said, well, how do I build this algorithmic trade desk? Well, first things first, right? Being a retired Marine Corps officer and a PMP, my mind goes immediately to concepts first, right? So in the Marine Corps, we have the Marine Corps planning process. In PMP, you've got the PMBOK, the Project Management Book of Knowledge. I've had many processes as an IT project manager that I've had to manage. And being very much the systems thinker that I am, because I create systems and I build them, I maintain them, I improve them. I said, I've got to do what I do professionally, which is build the system. Had been trained as a machine learning engineer back in 2016, and I learned about CrispDM at that time, and that served as a foundation for what I'm building here. And I said, okay, well, I can modify the system. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. This has been working for almost 30 years. So for the Independent Quant, I've modified CrispDM to CrispTiQ, which is a codified, repeatable, iterable system for profitability, and that is the system that I'm using to build algorithmic strategies. And so phase one for me is establishing the concept of how all this is going to work and what the systems are. Because once you have the systems in place, then it's just a matter of execution. At that point, I can even start hiring people to do different parts of the Independent Quant as far as my training desk, right? And I call it an algorithmic trading desk because that's the way I was taught to call it. Or the people that I've associated with initially, that's what they called. And I haven't been able to shake it off. I'm trying to say an algorithmic trading business because I have a trading business, but it just doesn't want to seem to roll off the tongue. But with that, that's the first things first, and that's done. I've got a process for that. It's rooted in good IT fundamentals. Then from there, I've already been coding strategies since 2019, which I wasn't using CrispTiQ at that time because I didn't think of going as far as I am now. So I didn't need a system to do what I was doing. But now that it's being incorporated more, I'm going to start trading my strategies. I'm still very much a technical analyst. So a lot of my algorithmic code is within technical analysis still. I'm taking technical indicators and using those as my signals to enter trades into. My next phase with that is continue that, grow that, get technical analysis be the foundation for a lot of my algorithms. So that would round out phase 2, and I'll do those within the CrispTiQ methodology. For phase 3, what I'm going to do there is I'll expand my knowledge base to start actually creating quantitative strategies as they are. So technical analysis doesn't really use statistics. Quantitative strategies do. So that's something that I'm to this day, I'm not something that's familiar with. I do know about using models and machine learning and all the different models associated with that. I've just never had to apply those to a trading setting. I've only done that in a business setting to solve business use cases, which have nothing to do with trading. That's my clients that I help. So phase 3 is me learning how to implement those within quant strategies. And ultimately, my ultimate goal in phase 4, which is my 4-phase plan, right, is to not do that on my computer. So the entire journey here is to be able to run the algorithmic trading business from anywhere. Right now, I can trade from anywhere. I can, I work for myself, and as we travel the country or do nomadic work, because my wife also owns her own business, we don't have to stay where we live. We can hit the road and do what we have to do, and thankfully, I can continue to trade. Well, I want to do that with my algorithmic trade desk with one special caveat, which is I tend to own very powerful computers because I'm a computer nerd, and that's how I end up an IT project manager. As you can see here, I've got this now really dated workstation that is my backup computer. My main computer, which I'm pointing at in front of me, is an absolute monstrosity. I'm looking at the time of this recording to build a workstation, which is going to be a lot bigger than that. I don't even need it. I just like having powerful computers. But what I'd like to do is not have to be dependent on these systems in order to run an algorithmic trade desk, because if I had needed that much computing power, then how am I going to hit the road with my family and still continue to trade on the move? So I need to have all of this running in the cloud. And the whole concept is it all needs to run. I'm pointing it now in my Chromebook, which is my favorite computer of everything that I own. It needs to be able to run off my Chromebook. I should be able to do everything off my Chromebook, which means that that's all my entire infrastructure needs to be on the cloud and accessible from a browser. Fair enough. I've done more than enough projects on AWS to build a backend, and at the time of this recording, I've actually already done that. I've designed and built my algorithmic trading platform in the cloud on AWS. Challenge is that I don't have a front end to it. I've never worked front ends for any of my AWS projects, so I don't know how to build that. So that project's kind of in a standstill. But that's okay. That's for my phase 4. I'm working on my first 3 phases, and along those first 3 phases, I'm going to learn AWS Amplify. It's a service that I've never had to use. I don't want to hire anybody at this point. Being a project manager, you get to understand that you need to understand the technologies that the people that you're managing are using to create the tools that they're creating. If you don't, it's very difficult to provide quality instructions. I can tell them, hey, these are the requirements, but I can never really inspect what they do because I don't understand what the heck they're building it on. I don't want to be in that position, especially not for my business. I don't want to outsource that capability just yet. I'd like to have a foundational knowledge and a working knowledge. Like I want to be able to go in and tweak it and change it myself. Once that's done, then I can make the decision of, do I have the time to do A, B, and C? And if I don't, at that point, I'll outsource to someone. But that's my 4-phase plan to building my algorithmic trade desk. Again, first is building the concept model, achieved. CrispTiQ is created. Phase 2 is double down on technical analysis strategies and build those out. Phase 3 is to delve into quantitative strategies. And phase 4 is to put it all on the cloud so that I'm not beholden to powerful computing systems that are immobile. So with that, if you found all that very valuable and you don't know a lot of what I said because it's all trading words, I do have a mini course at the Independent Quant that you can sign up for. If you're ready to go a lot further in and build your very own strategies, I do have a boot camp that you can use to get your first trading strategy up in 14 days using generative AI. Thanks so much for watching this video. I so much look forward to seeing you again soon. Please sign up for our newsletter at the Independent Quant, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Until then, keep it green, traders.